Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's all three times somewhere in the world. Welcome to another edition of Maximum Life with yours truly, Michael Norman. And listen, I believe in the idiom that I have come. This is what the scripture says: I've come that you might have life and that more abundantly. But here's what I've come to discover, that this abundant life that we keep talking about, it doesn't happen by osmosis. It takes strategy, it takes intentionality. And that's what this whole broadcast is about. We're about helping you develop the proper mindset that inherits that sort of life that you desire to have. Because if you think it, you can be it. In other words, I always say your mindset affects your assets, and your mentality will affect your reality. So, in part, in whole, if you begin to think right, if you begin to think positively, those are the things you begin to see manifest in your life. Neville Goddard said something that has stuck with me ever since I heard him say it. He talked about the power of your divine imagination. So how that things work and operate or develop and they manifest based on your imagination. So what are the things you're thinking about constantly? What are the things that you're rolling over in your mind on a constant level that you've got it on rinse and repeat? I think the same way, I think the same way, I think the same way, I think the same way. Therefore, I receive the same things. I receive the same things, and it becomes a cycle in your life. And this is a mystery because oftentimes what happens is people don't recognize this one principle I talked about last week, but I'm bringing it back for part two because I've got a very special guest to help me demonstrate and declare and speak to you and teach you how that seed time and harvest is the key to life itself. It is absolutely the key to life itself, because even Genesis says in about the 8th chapter, as long as the earth remains, there will be seed time and harvest. In other words, as long as there is a planet Earth, we're going to have to regard and respect seed, time, and harvest. It works in everything, in every sphere of life, in everything that you undertake. Everything starts as a seed, but it requires time in order to have the harvest. And that's the key to life itself. So again, I wanted to talk about this again to kind of drive the point home for those of you that are watching, and perhaps you didn't catch it on the last time. So I'm going to repeat it for the folks in the balcony section so that you get this and you understand how supernaturally important it is for you to respect seed time and harvest, because it's absolutely going to impact everything you do. In other words, if you're going to be a doctor, you've got a seed. Their seed is your education. You've got to put that into the ground. That's seeding. I'm going to be a doctor one day, but I must seed time in somebody's classroom, someone's university, and I've got a seed, and that seed has to remain in that university for at least, what, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years perhaps? That's time. You've got to sow that seed, experience that time. And trust me, time not only is the expense of minutes, seconds, and hours, days, and months, and years, but is actually something that is working on you. Here's the thing I've learned. Whatever you undertake is going to, before it works for you, is going to work on you. And that's where most people give up. That's where most people get depressed and discouraged, and they opt out. This is literally what separates winners from losers, because before it works for you, it's going to work on you. There's some character traits, some things about you that has to be developed, some things that exist in your life that you're going to have to work out or work in to your life so that you can be able to handle the things that come with success. Because if success comes before proper preparation, that's a tongue twister. If success comes before proper preparation, I'll get it. Let me try it one more time. If success comes before proper preparation, it would actually be your undoing rather than your prosperity, rather than your blessing. It will be a cursing. And as such, I believe in principles of the scripture where it says that the things that you go through are actually preparing you for the things that you're going to. You don't know it by now. You don't know it in the beginnings, but it is actually preparing you mentally, emotionally, in every other way to prepare you to handle the things that you're going to. So, to help me drive this point home for each and every one of you today, I've got a very special guest, my good friend. I call him JP, John Paul Tooth, is with us. And I'm going to bring him in and we're going to have a discussion and let you kind of eavesdrop in our discussion. And as we're talking about this whole issue of seed time and harvest. Hey, what's happening, John? Can you hear me?
How are you? I love that topic this morning.
Yes, it's going to be a powerful conversation. You are a businessman, and you know everything that we do, primarily here on Maximum Life, is helping people to develop the proper mindset, not only in
Yeah.
business but in life in general. But a lot of focus is given to business, but of course, it affects and impacts every life. You're married, you have a beautiful wife, you've got a business, you a thriving business that's doing well, and having some very serious impact in the world today. But those things don't just happen, do they?
No, I had to make, it's so funny you brought that up because you have to make a temporary sacrifice for long-term gain. Because you can't have the money before you sacrifice. You have to do something to sacrifice it. And,
Mm-hmm.
before I had this knowledge, I didn't know how to sacrifice because I didn't have anyone teaching me.
Mm-hmm.
But through the process of learning what I wanted to have for my life, I had to figure out is what I had to do over here to sacrifice so I could have those things in the future.
Well, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because I'm so excited to have you with us, because I want people, just so for perspective purposes, just give us a little bit of bio about yourself. Who are you and where you from? Where'd you go to school? That kind of, let us be nosy for a moment.
All right. Well, my name is John Paul Toth. So I've been a financial representative for 22 years. I saw this opportunity 22 years ago, and I saw the opportunity to help someone else get what they want, make a difference by making a difference. I went to college to become an accountant, thought that's what I was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
I realized I didn't like that job, didn't like that profession. Plus, it would only pay me so much money. You with
That's
me?
a good one. I'm
So
with
you
you
so
on
you,
that
you
one.
can only live in a certain house. You can only make so much money. You can only make it, but I was only making an impact for that company.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm
No matter
interested.
how.
What maybe give us a little backdrop as to what compelled you to go into accounting.
Well, I don't really know the answer for that question. I just went to school and I said I like being an accountant. I guess But
You
then when I
like
realized
counting? I like numbers.
I like numbers, probably the numbers part. Sitting in a cubicle wasn't me.
That
The
wasn't part
numbers
of the
part.
equation.
No, I didn't really put that together. I didn't know that was going to be the plan, right? But when I realized what I didn't want to do, I had to make a change.
Uh-huh.
I had to sacrifice some things called what I did in the past, maybe didn't work in the future. I began to transition my mind to go, well, maybe what I thought I knew, I didn't really know because no one really wanted to teach me how it could take care of me.
Right.
So when I got approached by helping people learn about money and the importance of money, it's not about money that's important. It's about what you're going to need with that money when you're ready to use it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A great example, we have my wife and I have a 25-year-old son. And before we had him, I paid for my own education in college.
Did you? How
That's
did you
was
do
that
that?
was I
Tell him.
got a loan. I got
Tell
to
him,
get
sort
go
of.
into debt.
No, I'm going back old school because I'm a man of a particular age, and I remember
Okay.
selling bottle caps and glass
Oh
bottles.
wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
we go way back. So anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
No, and I like that because you're right. Because my wife used to collect bottles and take them in for money where she grew up. But the thing is, I didn't even know that college planning was important until I had a child.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I went to college and I had to pay for it myself. I took out student loans. I had to pay for it whenever I had a job. But when we did have a child, I realized I had to make financial sacrifices with the things that I wanted. It was no longer about me, it was about what's better for him and for my wife. So we did something that changed our son's life forever was we did a couple things, Michael. When he was 3 years old, we did something so he would never have to worry about money when he retired. So I retired my child at the age of 3. But then while he was going to be planning for his school, which he didn't know about, I started something called an UTMA account. It was an account so that we could put money into that thing. And when he got ready for college, see, I was planting that seed. I had no idea what that seed was going to be worth in 20 years. I had no idea. But I knew I had to make a sacrifice of putting money into something that could benefit him.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I put
now
in
again, let me just pause you right there because
Yeah.
again, one of the things I'm always curious about is what kind of mindset, you know, causes you to think, okay, let me prepare for the future in the way that you did for your child. And a lot of us, a lot of people just kind of haphazardly go through life where we don't really have direction per se. We don't really have a mark to hit as much as we're just kind of, hey, I just want to, just be able to make it to the next day.
Yeah. I
What
think
kind
probably
of
what it was,
mindset does that take? What kind of attitude, and where did you get it from? Did that just happen, or did your parents kind of pour it into you?
I wish I knew that it was because of my parents, but honestly, it was probably because my parents didn't do it
Hmm.
because
What?
they didn't have knowledge.
Right.
They didn't know about college planning.
Hmm.
So when I became a parent, I was like, wow, I never knew it was even available. So when I found out it was available, I was thinking, why didn't my parents do it for me?
I'm sure they did the best they knew how, right?
They knew that's right. They knew the best
Well,
that they had
a-
knowledge.
and I say the same thing because when I look at the things that I know now, and I'm like, how come you guys didn't know that? Why didn't anybody tell me? Blah blah blah.
That's right. That's right.
The real truth of the matter is that oftentimes that sort of knowledge is maybe not concealed, but only revealed to a certain caliber of people.
You're exactly right. You're
Because
exactly right.
we don't know because we are not at a particular caliber or level in society where that information flows to.
You're exactly right. You
You
you you
know,
hit it. My parents were both poor. My wife's parents were both poor.
uh
So that knowledge wasn't available to them.
hmm
But somehow God allowed me to learn, just get a little bit of information. And it was my responsibility then to say, hey, how can I apply that to my life?
right,
And I
right.
had to make the decision from that point.
So when you're talking about applying to your life, I often say, you know, birds of a feather flock together.
That's
And
right.
it becomes a vicious cycle when I lack a certain knowledge, I lack a certain information. The tendency is to almost be magnetically drawn to people who are a like kind. So if I'm,
Correct.
if certain knowledge is absent from my life, I tend to hang around with people with that same level of ignorance,
Mindset.
for lack of a better
Yeah.
term, and it
Yeah.
creates that cycle. As a matter of fact, it creates an environment because I don't mean to, I'm not belittling. I don't mean to do that, but I do recognize that, you know, there's a certain magnetic attraction for people who think in terms of success, destiny, goal oriented, that sort of thing. They
Right.
all tend to end up in a certain sector of life, while those who are just barely making it,
Right.
they have a certain mindset that says, "Hey, this is all there is for me. I'm just gonna be make it the best way I can. Let me
Right.
drink on the weekends, get drunk, so I can just kind of forget about my troubles for at least 48 hours, and then turn around and go
Right.
right back into it, and just rinse and repeat. Do the same thing over and over. They tend to
Right.
live and congregate in certain areas. We call them ghettos. Not to talk down on them, but the
Right.
reality is most of them that are there are they have the similar mindsets.
That's
So
correct.
that's what fascinates me about you is how you were able to break through that sort of ecosystem that brought you to a place where you can say, "Hey, I can have more. I can prosper."
Right. And I don't know why I was chosen of them all. I just know that I saw it and it became my responsibility. Most people want to say it's not their responsibility; it's someone else's responsibility. It's not their fault. No, it's so I owned it. I took it on as an ownership
Oh,
responsibility.
that is good right there. And
I
I think
owned it.
that's what separates winners from losers in a lot of instances because we have I don't know where I got it, but I heard this old saying that says, "If it's to be, it's up to me.
Me.
If it's to be, it's up to me." And so it puts the onus on us as individuals to find a way to make it better. If it's
That's
going
right.
to be, it's up to me. Don't blame parents for not having it. Don't blame your coach for not telling you about it. If it's to be, then it's up to me. Then it's requiring me to go out. Okay, first of all, take on the mindset that says, okay, there is more. I can be, do, and have more than I currently am. So
Right.
now developing that mindset invites, like Neville Goddard again says, it invites a divine happenstance. God supernaturally causes the bridge of occurrence and consequence to cross over into your life that brings you into, oh, I met this person, don't know how, kind of what you're saying there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like this. You say it. We saw all the time. The definition of insanity: doing the same
Yes.
thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Well, the
Yeah.
system is set up. Unfortunately, the way the world has set up the system for us is it's set up so that we fail. Not that the system fails. We fail. We've been taught go to school, get good grades, get a good job. And job stands for just
Just
over broke.
over broke.
And we do that 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And we've also been taught when you have money, you should save it where?
In the bank
In the
or in
bank.
your
And then what is
mattress.
or in the mattress, right? So both of them are not in a positive for you. And then the bank's taking that money and they're using that money to make the profit. And they're giving back to the people very, very, very small interest. That's the reason why we fail, because we don't know how to get to that source where the profits are.
Mhm.
But when I learned that, it made common sense that me, not even as a representative in this United States, as a registered rep, because I have a license, but as an individual, now I have a choice. Do I want to go to the bank or do I want to break the cycle and go to the source so that my seed now has time to grow and it can make me more money for the same time period?
Mhm. Mhm.
What an
Well,
opportunity.
one thing that we are all subject to is time. There's no way
That's
to
right.
escape it. No, I mean, unless you have the power to suspend time and just kind of hang out
No,
at a certain time period until things
no,
changes around you, I mean,
no.
only the X-Men I know can do that. That's and
That's right.
that's a comic book character. So
Right.
so there we're not X-Men and we can't
No,
suspend time. So that means we're subject to time. Now
that's right.
the challenge is, how do you harness the fact that time marches on? How do you harness that and make it work for your benefit rather than your destruction or depression?
Right. Well, you have to, you know, if I give you knowledge and you decide to not do what's better for you, that's a decision you're making. So
Mhm.
the time doesn't affect me, does it?
No.
Time affects you.
Mm.
So that's why knowledge is power. And the reason in the Bible it says the reason why people perish is lack of knowledge.
Right.
And the system doesn't want us to have the knowledge, because if we had the knowledge, we wouldn't use the institutions that we've been taught. So we have to take the knowledge of how do I get over that? How do I start a UGMA, which stands for Uniform Gift? How do I do that? Well, that's the first thing is if it's available for me, how can I do it for my son? When we did this, Michael, I had no knowledge of how it worked. I just knew if it did work, I would have more to help him with his school. And thank God we did that, because when he went off to school, he had $40,000 that we were able to use for his college. But if we kept it in the bank, he would have had $3,000. That's a $37,000 difference. And he didn't finish school because of health conditions and a concussion and stuff like that. But that money was still available because it was still working.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't lose the money. Now
Yeah.
he used the money for his future, his Roth IRA. Now that'll go towards his future.
Mm-hmm. Now,
So I took the time
go
and
ahead.
knowledge.
Go ahead. I wouldn't want to
I
interrupt you.
took time and I just took time and knowledge, and I used it for our benefit
Mm-hmm.
because I had the knowledge now. Now I got the knowledge. I no longer needed that institution over there, did I?
No, you didn't.
No,
No.
no. They're
So
the one losing.
you discovered how, in some ways, and how you're going to make money work for you as opposed to you working for money.
That's right.
And you discovered through certain vehicles that if I apply that vehicle towards time, eventually it puts me in a position where I no longer have to work for money.
That's right. Exactly right. Because if you strategize your life, I'm 54 years old and I've been doing this for 22 years. So at some point in time, God's going to decide for me, you shouldn't do this anymore. Because it's just what do you say? The body's going to give out, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. So at some point in time, that's over here. We know it's over here. Like you said, we're not going to want to do this forever.
Mm-hmm.
But over here, we better have something. It's the same principle that we're talking about today, is you have that seed. But that seed's got to come from somewhere. It's the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't have cable television. Maybe you don't go get your hair done every week. Maybe you don't get your nails done every week. These are there's things I sacrifice and there's things I don't sacrifice. My wife getting her hair done, I don't care. Go get your hair done. She deserves it,
can't
right?
sacrifice that.
No, but for me, if I don't need it, I begin to justify the need.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need those new golf clubs. I don't need a new car. I don't need a new cell phone. I want, but I don't need. So when we as people begin to justify our own needs and wants, then we take that money and we use that money alone and we put that money away.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do without food. You don't do without power. Maybe I don't need that this month. That's the sacrifice.
Yeah.
That most people are not willing to do.
Well, you're right. There are sacrifices that we have to be willing to do.
That's right.
For a better tomorrow. And now, I grew up in an environment that, tomorrow's not promised.
That's correct.
So I grew up in the church world, and as such, we were under the threat of Jesus returning. Not necessarily excited about it, but you better get ready because if he doesn't come today, he's coming tomorrow. And as such,
that's right.
It's made me have a mindset of, well, why prepare for tomorrow if there's not going to be a tomorrow?
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been made subject to that idea that, don't worry about this world. One day in the by and by, you'll get your pie in the sky, and just know that when it's all over, you'll get your reward when you die. But by and large, we're living longer than we've ever lived before.
Exactly.
So as such, in many cases, we're outliving our jobs. We're outliving the ability of our jobs to employ us, like you said, and sometimes it's certain physical disabilities that keeps us from working. So now we got to think, how can I earn money when I'm not working? Well, I submit that there's a mindset that has to be deployed. You've got to be thinking rich before you even become rich. Now, not everybody wants to be a multi-trillionaire. Jeff Bezos is, one of them. I saw the other day, Tesla guy. What's his name? Now
I just saw him last night.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Yes.
Elon Musk is now said to be worth $500 billion, the first half trillionaire. And do I need that much? Probably not. but I don't know if I need that much until I get closer to it. The
Right.
more we
Right.
get, the more we realize that we can do. And the things that we
That's right.
really want to do actually cost money. So I can't hate on him for being a half a trillionaire, because you never know. I might need to be one day, so you never
Right.
know. But the point I'm making is because we were brought up under this almost sacramental idea of having less. If I,
Right.
how hard is it for a rich man to enter into heaven? How, and sell all that you have and give to the poor. And if you live like a pauper here, you'll be rich in heaven. When in
Right.
fact, that again, I always borrow from the scriptures. He says, "I've come that you might have life, and that more abundantly."
Right.
Not now.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
just not all money. You want to be able to get along
No.
with your wife, your husband, your children, and that sort of thing. That there are things.
Right.
Trust me. Time is much more valuable than money. I can prove that. If I put you in the hospital, they tell you you've only got 24 hours to live. But if
Right.
if we'll give you $500 million like Elon, we'll give you $500 billion, but you only have 24 hours to live. Or you could live on minimum wage and you can live for the next 30 years. Which would you choose? I'll take
I would take
minimum
the 30
wage for
years.
30 years.
I'll take, I'm sorry. I'll take minimum wage for 30 years. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So that means time is far more valuable
That's right.
than money. So life is not about, as the scripture says, it's not man's life is not consist in the abundance of things that he possesses. It's not a material world that we're trying to amass, get more cars, more houses, and that sort of thing.
No.
But we recognize a certain need for wealth in our life, so that it impacts not only our lives, but our children and our children's children.
Well, you're going to have cars. There's no, I mean, how else are you going to get around town? You're going to ride your scooter? I mean, you're going to have things.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a place to live. And so the reason why I say that is because just like your topic is seed, and I love this because it's so true, seed, time, and harvest. Because we're wanting the harvest when?
At the seed time.
Now. We want it right now. Give it to me now, like you said. But if you had it now, you wouldn't know how to take care of that. So the seed goes along with the daily, monthly sacrifice of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Most people, they work a job and they go to retire and they have to live on something called Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem today is Social Security might not be enough for everyone, even the people currently living on it. Remember, it's not controlled by me. It's controlled by something called the government, which we all pay taxes into.
Right.
So alongside of that, that was never created that man or woman should live on that alone. But we, unfortunately, didn't make the sacrifices to fund the seed. We didn't do it.
Right.
Oh, all these other things were so important. Where I lived, what I spent my money on while I was alive. And so if they could have just been taught to sacrifice I was doing the numbers. If a person took $50 a month, Michael, and they saved that into a Roth IRA for 30 years, that would be $200,000, and all they would have invested was $20,000 over those 30 years. Just 50. We're talking about, come on now, tell me, what do we waste $50 a month on every month? A cell phone.
Yeah.
I mean, that costs minimum $50 a month.
Oh, that's being very conservative.
Yeah. So we know, we all know. I mean, we can't hide behind it and say we don't waste money. We are all people. That have access to the money. We waste it on things we don't need.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to begin to look at that and say, I need to have retirement. I need to put my kid in college. I need to do these things because if I get to that point in my life and I didn't sacrifice all those years, I won't have what I need to have, whether it's to put my kid in college, retire, whatever. Everyone, his life is different. That's the beautiful thing about life.
Yeah.
It's all different.
Well,
it's different for you. It's different for me. It's different.
It is definitely different. for everyone. But
It is.
the one thing that is common to all of us, that we all have in common, is that if we have a birth date,
Yeah.
you're going to have an exit
Amen.
date. If you
That's
get an
right.
entrance date, you're going to get an exit date.
That's right.
We don't know where that exit. Hopefully, it's a long ways from current day, but the reality is that we're all going to exit at some point.
That's right.
And the scripture says again that a good man leaves an inheritance, not an invoice. A good man
Right.
leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. And
That's
so,
right.
saying that kind of segues us into what I really want to introduce to our listening and viewing audience is that we're going to start a YouTube channel, and we're going to be dealing with financial issues, financial services, and things and strategies that can help actualize what we've been talking about here in terms of growing your money, learning
Yeah.
how to make fine tweaks. You know, if it's the little foxes that destroys the vine, well, then the reverse knowledge should yield the same. It's the little tweaks that makes big changes. You know,
Yes.
if little fox can destroy the vine, then little tweaks can preserve the vine.
That's right.
So
Absolutely.
learning how to make little tweaks and things that we're going to be talking about, and we'll probably be joined by Chris Lopez. He'll join us, and we'll just have a discussion to just talk about a little bit about what they can expect when we are dealing with these financial issues.
As we were talking about today, our brains have all been taught one system. This is how you do it. And the reason why it's taught that way is because if the banks, the insurance companies, and the mortgage companies wanted us to learn, then they wouldn't make money. So we know that the principles have been out there in the world for everyone to learn for at least 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we know it's been there, Michael. It's on the internet. It's out there all over for everyone to read. But when people read it, they don't understand how to take that information and apply it. So with you and Christopher Lopez and myself, we're going to have a channel where we can bring information to the world, because it's time that everyone learns how to take better care of their savings. Make sure they got the right kind of life insurance. If they're, remember, people are going to buy it anyway. So why not buy the right kind of stuff? Not just buy what makes other people money. Learn how to create an estate plan for a house. I mean, I don't understand why that's such a big business today, but it is, because people die. Like you said, they have an end date. And when people have an end date, what's going to happen with the estate that they created? Mm-hmm. Where does it go? Who takes over? Who takes over care of my kids if I have minors? Those are real issues. We're not talking about that's just something for the wealthy. That's for even the hardworking person that has a job.
Yeah. I've heard so many horror stories about probate and things getting locked up in court systems, and it just gets messy.
And it's scary. It's scary because nobody knows what's going to happen, because that person's dead. You have to, when you die, that stuff takes place. But then you put someone in position that doesn't have knowledge. What do they go do? Mm-hmm. They're exposed to the system. The attorneys know how to fix the problem. That's why they're the attorneys and lawyers. Nothing wrong with them. They just have a system that they know that they can do the work for the people, because now the people need them.
Yeah.
Well, if we can remove the need, we can help the people.
So, yeah, and estate planning, it's not a very difficult thing. As a matter of fact, with the age of AI and technology, it's extremely easy to plan and prepare for the inevitable, and to make sure that things are done in a way that honors your wishes, and as opposed to leaving it up to a judge who knows nothing about your family, nothing about your relationships. You can actually prepare that. So we're going to be talking about this we're getting prepared. We're in pre-production. We'll be talking about it more, and we'll do a little promotional drops here and there. But if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a husband or a wife, and maybe you have a family, let's talk about macho. Tell them what macho means, Chris.
Well,
JP.
So people that get married, so we call it, so macho, they're married, right? They have what is it? Why do I have a married? They have children.
Assets.
They have no, they have. Is that what A has? Assets? Why did I just draw a blank? I'm human. See that? I'm getting old. Y'all agree? So they're married. They have no. A is not assets because
Did I write? Let me see here.
is
I
it
think I got
assets?
age 25 to 45.
Assets. So they're married age 25 to 55. So because we call it 25 to 45 is when because that's when their kids are most likely there at the home. 55 their kids are out, or they have children. So they're married. They got their age 22 to 55. They have children. They own a home, and they have an occupation. Those people need help
Hmm.
because when you're married, you go do things that married people do.
Yeah.
You protect your household. You get a home. You need estate plan. So things that we're going to do anyway, those families need guidance
Uh-huh.
somehow.
Yeah.
And
And
we
it's not
want to
just for married people, but this is the
no.
idea. This is the idea concept. If, particularly if you're married and if you're between ages of 25 and 45, I think that's what I had in my notes.
Yep.
Yeah. And if
Yep.
you have
25 and 40.
children, yeah, you have children, two, maybe three children, and then of course you have a job, occupation.
That's right.
Uh,
That's
this
right.
is something that is absolutely paramount. And I'm like, don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till perhaps you can't work. Just
That's
because
right.
you're healthy now doesn't mean you're going to spend the next 20 years doing what you're doing, because we never know what lies ahead in our lives. Things can happen in the
Right.
first year, and when you could have potentially been working another 19, 20 years, but it's been cut
Yeah.
off because of injuries or something, whatever has happened that prevents you from going, being able to do it. So you got to have something in place. So we're going to be
Right.
talking about that more in the days to come. Listen, if you got anything out of this conversation, I need you to put your comments in the chat section. Let me know what you're thinking, how you feel. Are you prepared for your financial future? Are you developing your mindset? And if you are, let's hear your perspective on what it means to develop a proper mindset and how it's impacting your life. We'd love to hear from you on that. Okay. All right. That being said, Chris, is there anything else that you want to say before we sign off?
No, thank you very much for allowing me to share some information. And the good thing is our company is always available. New Power Generation is our company name. So if you want information, you can always email us at www.newpowergeneration.us. That's www.newpowergeneration.us. We're the only investment company that has .us because we're registered by the United States government. And also, my phone number is 407 256 2778, or you can call Michael Norman, who is part of my team in Orlando.
Yeah. Give them that number one more time.
407 256 2778.
There you go. You're a broadcast engineer now.
I just love helping people, Michael. Any way we can get information to people is always a plus.
Same here. I think that's how our paths converged, because
Oh,
we have
yeah,
similar passions in terms of helping people. All right, that being
absolutely.
said, we got to get out of here, but I want to thank you for tuning in to another edition of Maximum Life. And of course, our mantra is that God wants you to have life and that more abundantly. But it must be by intentionality and by strategy. And so that's why we're here to help you to do that. Exactly that. The information is in the description section. My algorithm of wealth, the playback video, the webinar was incredible. You're going to gain so much knowledge from that as well. It's all in the description below. And of course, if you have any questions, you can get in touch with me I read all the comments. You can get in touch with me through this very channel. And then one more time, brother JP, go ahead and give them your contact information to get to New
So,
Power Generation. And if that sounds
that's right.
familiar, there's a reason. We'll tell you the story when we start the show.
That's right. It's my contact is 407 256 2778. And our website is free to get information from. It's www.newpowergeneration.us. Check us out.
.us. All right. Until next time, folks, I trust that you heard something that has blessed you. that has enriched you. And of course, till the next time, stay blessed by the best. We'll see you next time right here on Maximum Life. All right. Blessings. Thanks, Chris. Chris. Thanks, JP.
It's okay.